Just wanted to give a brief update and show you some of the new features in iOS 9. This isn't comprehensive, but just a few good reasons to be switching. So the first thing is the new Siri search panel. So if you just swipe to the left from the home screen, you get a new Siri page that has recent contacts, people you've been communicating with. You can tap right on their icon and you can text them or call them or mail them right from there. It also has the recent apps that you've been looking at, or maybe apps that you should look at based on the time of day. So if you normally use a certain thing at the time of day, you can those apps will show up. It has news as well, and as well as nearby places. It also still has search included, so you can still search and find apps or find contacts that way very easily. So none of that has changed, but some new things there that are contextually aware based on what you do during the time of day. So you'll notice if I jump into maps by clicking on food nearby, it's going to show me restaurants nearby, which is really great. But one of the greatest features here is that when you jump in between apps now, there is a new bar right at the top of the top left of the screen that says back to search. And so whatever you were searching for, if that wasn't the right thing, you can jump right back into search. And now this works in several different apps, or lots of different apps. If you have an app that takes you from one app to the other, you will have that quick access back to the app you just left. A quick update about mail. There's a couple new options. If you're sending or receiving attachments, there's some new functionality. You'll notice that if I try to forward this email that has an attachment, if I click on the little toolbox at the bottom of the screen in the attachment, I have several new tools that I can use. I have a loop here that I can adjust the size of and the location of, and I can call attention to something on my attachment by blowing it up. There are also a drawing tool, so if someone sends you an attachment and you would like to respond to it, you can use the drawing tool or just the text tool to add text to their attachment and send it right back to them. And those things will be saved onto that attachment, and then they will be able to view that. You also notice in Mail, when you hit the search bar to search for new things, there's some helpful things that pop up. So stuff that you normally access, such as food, you can click on that and some other options pop up. So if in this case you're looking for grocery stores, you can hit the grocery stores button and it'll show you all the nearby grocery stores. Just a little quick, helpful way to search. You will also notice that the keyboard has changed a bit. You now have uppercase and lowercase letters that are designated by, depending on what case you're in at the moment. So if you're starting to type to someone, obviously you would use a capital letter to start your sentences in most cases. And so it will switch back and forth. So if I want to type, my capital letters then show up on the keyboard. And then so you have a little bit more awareness of where you are. Are you in capitalization, or are you in lowercase letters? So it's just a kind of a quick way to make sure that you know where you are on the keyboard. So we're introduced to Apple Music this summer. If you're not using Apple Music, it is a fine service. Lots of customization, lots of cool things you can do. Your music all resides here, even if it's just iTunes Music, so it's under the My Music tab here on the right. And you see that when you're playing a song, there's actually a little mini player at the bottom that is always there, so you can keep on searching for new music and still have access to what's playing and some quick controls. We may do something for Apple Music soon. If you are not aware of what Apple Music can offer, it's a pretty amazing service. So there's also a new way to access previous apps. So just like before, you just double tap the home screen, and now you get these cards lay out, and you can swipe them away one at a time, two at a time, however many fingers you can get on the screen. You can swipe away apps that are open. This also allows you to jump pretty quickly between apps if you're doing some multitasking. There's also a new way to search settings. So if you know exactly the setting you want to go to, but you don't know how to get there, you can search for it in settings just by pulling down from the top, and then it'll bring up a list of topics, and it'll take you right to that area of the settings. So again, pull down from the top, there's a search bar. I can be taken right to that area of my settings. It's also an interesting new way to share things and be productive. If you need to earmark a certain web page, you can now choose to share it. This has been around for a while, but we've added some new functionality. At the bottom of the screen, if you tap the bottom of the screen, you'll see the share icon, which is the square with the arrow. And you can choose to share that with someone via text message, mail, but now you can also save it as a PDF into iBooks, or you can send it to notes or reminders. So if we send it to notes, it's going to ask us what note to send it to. We can create a new note, and we'll save it. And then as I go into my notes application, you will see here that I have a new note. And in this case, it created a title for it too, but it added a dynamic link with an image to this note. So within this note, I will have that web page built in. I can also do a couple new things with text in notes. I can create a list. So if I were also making a shopping list to go along with my lay-down collared pleated tuxedo shirts, I could hit the plus button over here, and you'll see a little check mark icon. So if I want to, I can hit that, and I can say that I need also to get something else. If I do another one, I can add more. And then when I'm done, if I want to, once I'm using this note later, I can go through and I can check those off my list. I can also add writing right into my note. So I have several pencils that I can choose from, or pens. If I choose that, I can say I can draw on here however I want. There's also a fantastic ruler that you can move around, and you can actually twist the ruler to different angles. So if I wanted to draw some straight lines for whatever reason, I can color right along that line or even past it, and you can see here that once the ruler is gone, I have a perfectly straight line. Once I'm done with this, I just hit done, and now that image that I just drew is in my note. I can also add pictures to a note as well. More interesting than that, I think, is a way to remind yourself of important things. So back on my tuxedo shirt here, if I wanted to remind myself to do this later, I can just hold down Siri from anywhere. Remind me of this tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So Siri creates a reminder and is contextually aware what you're doing when you say this, remind me of this. It could be a web page, it can be a text message, it could be a voicemail. Anything that you're looking at the time, you can ask to be reminded of. So then if I go into this app, you will see in my to-do list for tomorrow a dynamic link to that. So even if I don't exactly remember what that is, I can click on the Safari and it'll take me right to that page and remind me of what I was supposed to be doing. And of course, at the top of the page, you'll see there's a back to reminders. You do this with messages, do it with voicemails, with emails, just about anything now. There's also some contextually aware features in Siri that will proactively give you some information. So I've created an event here for near in the future. Don't mind the time at the top of the page, it's just a placeholder. So I've set this for not too long from the present time with the location that I put in the event as well, so I have an exact location I'm going to. And what you'll notice is you should get a pop-up, and that I just dismissed, that tells me that I will be I need to leave soon because of traffic. Up as well on your screen, your home screen. If I scroll to the bottom here, or maybe at the top. So it'll tell me that I have stuff in 30 minutes, and then it pops up that says traffic is unusually heavy on the way to stuff that I just created. So the driving time is 41 minutes, and my event is in 37 minutes. So this will show up on your home screen, oftentimes here, to let you know that you need to account for traffic. So that's just a quick overview of some of the new features in iOS 9. There's a lot more in here. It's not an extensive update, but it certainly adds a lot of convenient new functionality and does squash some bugs that were present in iOS 8. As always, if you have any questions, family and friends, feel free to give me a shout. I'll be happy to help you out. One last thing, you'll notice when you go into settings and see your update that it's a much smaller update than last time. So moving to iOS 8 was a large jump for some people because it was such a big update. They've managed to figure out a way to make that smaller, and you should be able to update if you have enough room, but you won't need as much room to update as you did for iOS 8.